between the legend of the tournament, and that is not Sindarov. I am, of course, talking about Matthias Blühbaum. Touted by the fans before the tournament as the number one, the most handsome player in the field. Number two, the man who's going to upset everybody with the great Blühbaum sweep. Now, going into this game, I thought we would have a draw in an hour because Blühbaum has not played ambitiously with white. But then I was like, maybe it's the second half of the tournament and he's going to try to play for a win with white. Now, on that note, we have the opening that he plays literally all the time, and we have this Queen's Gambit declined with bishop to f4. And this has been played several times. In fact, in the very first round of the tournament, Sindarov was with white and Yesipenko was with black, and this is the position that they had on the board. It was takes, bishop f4. But here, Matthias leaves the option for black to take this pawn. However, generally, if black was going to take that pawn, he could have taken it on the first move. He could have taken it here, which is also what Fabiano did against Sindarov. You can also take it here. So why on earth would you take it here? Because Sindarov is playing his preparation. The idea of this move is simply to surprise your opponent. It is not a very logical move after committing to playing the bishop there, because in many positions where you take, the bishop actually goes to b4. So why would you do the two together? Well, here's the truth. Nowadays, you can basically do anything. You can play whatever opening you want, whatever move order you want, and Blühbaum here thinks for a little bit, and he takes the entire center. Now, the game Geary Prague from round 8, if you remember, featured b5, but without the movement of the bishops. So obviously the movement of these two bishops benefits white, right? Like black can't just play b5 here. No, it turns out he can. He can just do whatever he wants. So Sindarov plays b5 anyway. And here's the best part. After knight takes b5, he doesn't take on e4. He plays bishop b4 check. How is this possible? How can you play bishop e7 and then bishop b4 check? And if white brings the knight back now, which is clearly the most obvious move, black will then probably take on e4 after trading this. Sindarov is playing for a win with black. He is playing a risky, ambitious, offbeat opening to disturb the equilibrium. Why did I pronounce it like that? Equilibrium, stupid. Equilibrium of Matthias Blühbaum. Blühbaum likes a nice little calm game. He's trying to throw all that off. Now, here, Matthias thinks for 9 minutes and plays bishop back to d2. So both guys making multiple moves with their bishop, even though children are watching this game, obviously violating all sorts of principles. Black takes, and now Blühbaum does not take with the queen or the king, obviously. He takes with the knight, which is not very obvious, but he just defends the pawn in the middle of the board. Totally unprincipled here, obviously. Now here, here's the interesting thing about this. Here in this position, if I look at the computer, black recommends pawn to a6, knight to c6. He castled after thinking for 2 minutes, and the computer did not like that move. So either he mixed something up here, or his computer at home has deeper analysis, because this gave Matthias the option to push this pawn to e5. Then this knight would have to go somewhere, and assuming you want to maintain vision on d4, because you want to play a6 and take my pawn, you would go here. That's a horrible looking move. So then you would probably go here, and then white can go here and just be a pawn up. Now, maybe he analyzed this much, much, much deeper. I don't know what Matthias didn't like about this. But instead of doing that, he took on c4 immediately and allowed here to take back on d4. But then the way that Matthias played this was incredible. Obviously, here, white can do something super boring like castle on the same side. And I mean, we're used to Matthias being so solid. And then at this point, I went to do something. I came back and Matthias had played queen e2 and long castle. I was like, who is this guy? The great Blühbaum sweep? Like, he just castled on opposite sides. He doesn't know anything about the position. I mean, maybe he does. I have no idea. This is a very provocative position. I mean, white's idea now is to play f3, g4, h4, and to go take the king. I mean, literally just bring him out of the castle. And Sindarov's idea is to develop his knight, put the rooks on A and B, or maybe, this pawn really is in the way, and launch a massive counterattack. So, amazing stuff. The problem is this is not how Blühbaum typically plays, and this is going to become extremely obvious in about 3 moves. So black plays queen b6, very flexible move, leaving the position. Blue Baum plays f4, okay. Not the most accurate, actually. Apparently, you needed to play bishop to d3 and then e5 and knight c4. This was the correct plan of attack. He plays f4. Blue Baum, Dravakir develops his knight, and now g4. I mean, this is like bullet chess. I mean, really, f4, g4, like this is how you play when you have a minute on the clock. You have no time to think. Dravakir develops the knight now to c5 to clear the path potentially for that knight, also to go back to e8, also put pressure on the middle. g5, and this whole sequence of moves is just bad for white. So Blue Baum castles into an opposite side position and does all this, and then he plays bishop back to b3, which is incorrect, and Sindarov just absolutely takes over the game. a5 is apparently not the most accurate, but whatever, a5, and then trades the knight, brings this rook to b8, and the next few moves are going to be bishop to c6, a4, with a massive attack against the king. Sindarov is winning again with the black pieces, and he's up 30 minutes on the clock. I mean, this is completely absurd. This is going to become the greatest tournament performance ever. I know that some of you are truthers of Bobby Fischer, and yes, it was extremely impressive that Fischer and the candidates, when he was playing, literally went like 11-0. But I'm pretty sure that was against like 3 people. I think he swept multiple matches. He had some winning streak in the candidates where he just beat the same person every time. And there is something to be said for like, he was so much better than everybody that you're kind of like, yeah. But I get it. We progress 50, 60 years in the future. We constantly try to bury the past. Still, for a candidate's performance at this age, this is just unbelievable. And it only gets worse for Blue Baum, who completely, I mean, like, look at Black. How did Sindarov coordinate such a beautiful attack? It's just incredible. Knight takes a4, knight takes, pawn takes, and Sindarov is winning on the board. But he's winning on the board in a very obscure way. He needs to move his queen backwards. Because after queen to b7, you just threaten to take this pawn, and I do mean take that pawn, even though it's protected. Why? Because after takes, you allow queen b1 check. And there's other tactics here, but the most vicious tactic by far is c5. And the queen cannot defend the bishop and cannot defend checkmate at the same time. So Sindarov in this position can play queen to b7, and the white position is completely falling apart. Sindarov, with 55 minutes on the clock, just goes into a drawn position. And the game ends in a draw. Like, it didn't even occur to him he could be better here, let alone winning. He didn't have to go queen b7. He could have played queen a5. And then he could have went for rook b4. Like, he could have hunted Blue Baum. And he was up a lot on time. And like, I looked away, 11 seconds he played this move. This is the only Achilles heel that Sindarov has, is he might make a big decision in a game too quickly. Unfortunately for everybody else, the only decisions that come down to is like him making a draw instead of a win. That was a pretty big half a point that he gave away, but he's still completely winning the tournament. So, a weird game, because actually Sindarov was close to having 7.5 out of 9. 7.5. How was that feasible, bro? This man is almost 2780. He's about to overtake Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru, who are battling in the 2790 position.